This week at Morning Glory Motorsports, we try and get this thing off the table. A lot of work's been done, but a lot still has to be done. So let's get to it. This is a 2008 Ford Mustang GT500. If you can't tell, it's been a little bit modified. I was given the task to lighten it up a little bit. Let me show you what I've done so far. So I've cut the entire stock firewall out of it. This was done previously by somebody else. We're changing that too. This has been a race car for the majority of its life. I'll insert some pictures from before it came in of what it was. This has been cut out. It's gonna be able to use a stock K-member still, toe bolt in and out. Move into the interior. I built this entire floor structure. Put some FFP pedals in. This bar right here is called a double frame rail. And we run that from the mid plate bar to the back, and it just strengthens it up. And then on the other side, like down in here, I'll put steel, little pieces of steel to, you know, maybe save the driver's feet if anything explodes. Now, speaking of if anything explodes, this guy told me that probably 8 or so years ago, he had a transmission explode in this car. Let me show you the destruction. So it was a similar transmission to this, different case, and I'll show you a picture of it. But it exploded on the dyno and did all this. Went up through the windshield, broke the windshield. Now it has optic armor. Now, of course, we don't want that to happen again, so we have to prepare for the worst if it does happen again. We're gonna add some bars here, some more supports, which you'll see in the coming clips, and there will be more sheet metal as I talk about. This will be plated over. Again, just in case. We are on to more of the double frame rail. I got some supports tacked in, so now we're gonna run here to here, and here to in here. So let's get that going. And here's a quick shot of the double frame rail supports all tacked in with no transmission in there. Well, here. Drop. Go girl. Oh, something else caught our attention. This is the Hammer Concept, more budget-friendly 4-link kit. You can see these are 3 pieces. They stack up to give you this. And then there's like a little ledge there to lay weld in these windows. These are the upper and lower brackets that bolt like that. And your Heim joint goes in here. Now, these look the same, but they are not the same. They'll bolt in the same place, but they're not the same. So just keep that in mind. I'm gonna clean these up. I clean the surfaces up, top and bottom, before I weld them. I do the edges also, even though these are laser cut. It kind of leaves a residue. You don't have to do any of this, but this is just what I do. So let me get these cleaned up, welded together. Now I realize I'm jumping around here, guys. Still new at this. It'll get better with time. If you guys have any questions or want to see anything specific, drop a comment, let me know. I'll try and include it in the next video or try and explain it in a comment. Well, the time has come to mount these bad boys. But that doesn't come without issues. But here's the biggest issue. These come in two sizes, 13 and 15 inch. This one's the 13-inch economy. Sometimes you don't have 13 inches to play with. So I'm gotta make this fit. I've done it before, just more work for me. This is a little subframe I had to build. Now, when you're retrofitting stuff into, like, this portion was already here. The main cage structure stuff was already here. So I put this in. All the stuff in the floor I put in. So to get the appropriate bar length, what we're after, I have to build this structure off the back. One thing I also didn't mention is this bar is not flat. And that's because, again, when you fit to something that's already here, these were on a stock floor, which is well above the rocker. And this, we want this as low as possible for the drive shaft on these radial cars. So to make this dip, that means when I mount the 4-link, it would look like this. And we want it to be like that. So it's back to the cutting bench. We'll get it all marked out. I have an 1.5" tube here. We'll make some big cuts, then we'll knock the big piece out, and then we'll do a little grinding, try and get down to the mark. Then we'll check the fit up real quick. To an 1.5" tube. Hit it quick again, check it once more, and then we're back to the car. So we have it fitted up pretty good. Now, I just gotta do it again. Common theme here, huh? And there they are. Put in. I guess we'll get them tacked in. So these bars I'm fitting here will go at the end of the transmission tunnel, and they'll sort of act as a drive shaft loop in a sense. I offset notch them because they are 1 inch and they're going in between 1 5/8. So you offset notch them so they sit flat against the back, so I can do sheet metal easier. Whenever you see it in a later video when I'm doing the sheet metal, it'll make more sense. So the next thing I want to do is to put this Hammer Concepts and Designs floater 4-link housing under the car. I'd like to measure for a couple things. 4-link bars, wishbone, that's what holds the rear end straight in the car, keeps it from going side to side. Anti-roll bar, which is just how it sounds, stops the car from rolling during a launch. And the coilover mounts. Wow. So somehow we got that in the center. First try. No idea how. Now also while we're here, we can measure for a shock mount. Now I don't know what stroke shock these are. These are Menser 4-way adjustables. So there's 2 ways to tell what stroke shock these are. You can measure it right now, eyelet to eyelet, and then go on Menser's website and see the extended length, and then you can see the collapsed length and get your stroke from there. Or you can take these springs off and collapse it and measure it. I could tell you which one's easier, but I'll show you how to take them off. Now there is a lock nut on this collar, this adjustable collar here, and this ride height is changing anyway, so I don't mind doing this. All right, then there's this little clip on the top that you got to push down, hold the spring down with it, pop it out. Now you may have noticed that I pulled 2 springs off here. And that's called dual rate, progressive rate, variable rate, a couple different names for it. It's done for 2 reasons here, I think. One, it takes the gap up for the shock, so you can see like the whole, when the shock's all the way extended, and a 12-inch spring is too short. And these cars extend, so you don't want that spring flopping around. The other reason is when you take two spring rates and add them together, they become softer than what it actually is. And let me show you an example of that.
Here's the formula to allow you to do your own math at home. So to create or find out what the spring rate is, the combined upper and lower spring, you take the top spring times the bottom spring. These are rates. So top spring, I'm going to show you an example of, say, 200-pound spring. So 200-pound upper times the bottom, 200-pound lower, divided by the upper plus the lower. All right?
So our example here is we have a 100-pound top spring. And we have a 80-pound bottom spring. Divide those by 100 plus 80. Oh, not 800. And you get 8,000 divided by 180. 44 pound. 44 repeating pound spring. That means it takes 44.4 pounds to compress these with this divider 1 inch instead of 100 pounds for this one and 80 pounds for this one. So on a radial car anyway, we kind of want the lightest spring possible. It's just to hold the car up and get that 1 inch of shaft showing on the coilover. Back to you, Eric. Yeah, thanks for the math problem, man. Anyway, after all that sidetrack, let me get 13. $20. So 13, or 20 minus 13 is? Yeah, you get it. So we've taken all our measurements for the rear. We can pop that out. Next thing, engine and transmission have to come out. Now, I have a suspicion that this will not come out of here without me cutting the cross member because of my jig legs here. Can't move it back far enough. The way I got it in was I moved it to the side and it went down diagonal. Well, the double frame rail's in there now, so it will not go down diagonally. So we'll have to cut it. And that is, it's not an oversight. It was gonna get cut anyway. I put in, this is for the cross member. I designed these and made these like a side-by-side. They come apart, and it's the size of the tube, a couple 3/8 bolts. But anyway, we'll try. If not, we'll cut it. And there we go. And with the engine out, we can get the struts out of the stock strut towers. They're going to get replaced with what I'm about to show you. So here is the hammer strut cup kit. Just a short and sweet assembly diagram. It comes with a couple sockets. Last time I did this, these were not in there. So I assume a bunch of people complained about not being able to get down in here and tighten the strut. I asked the same thing. I think I got like some of the first ones the last time I did this, and it looks like they've developed something to be able, looks like this socket will go down inside that one to hold top of the strut and then the big nut. So I guess I was right. That goes in, and you'll hold this with a wrench. Now that that mystery's solved, let's get to cutting. Ta-da! Now, as you can see, I've cut off quite a vital part that's needed. for the suspension to work. So we're gonna be putting it back today, as well as touching up a little other things. A couple other things need welded in here while the engine's out. So yeah, let's get to it. So I have to grind the old stuff off, and where these front frame rails came together, there used to be a bunch of pinch welds in a straight up weld seam, and I cut that off. So now I have to weld these seams back up. And as I was setting up the front strut in the jig, I noticed something that might be an issue. So I grabbed the front clip, had my dad come down, help me put it on, so I could check some clearances.
As we can kind of see here, get a good light. The strut cup is about to touch the front.
But we do end up having clearance, so that's good news. Now my dad and I can take this front clip back off, and I can continue on. Fitting the first bar up, probably the most critical. It's going to hold you in place for all the rest of them. And there we have one strut tower, for sure. Now, I'm sure I sound like a broken record, but I just have to do it again, and this is just gonna be about impossible. So, we'll get it. And there we are. 2 strut towers. They just need finish welded, which I'll do when we pull it off the table. Well, I think we're gonna end it there. It's got a front suspension, double frame rails, it's got a 4-link. Next week, I was thinking about doing the firewall, but I think we're gonna work on the entire rear suspension, so this thing can be a roller whenever the wheels come in, which will be nice. I'm gonna try and put these out weekly. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. Never done this. So yeah, if you made it this far, I appreciate it. Maybe stick around. Thanks.